Clerk has 6 o'clock.
Okay, would you join us in saying the Pledge of Allegiance to open the meeting? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Clerk Laporte, would you do roll call for us?
Yes, ma'am. I,
Here.
Boardroom,
Here.
Coleman,
Here.
Van,
Here.
Warren,
Here.
Watson,
Excuse.
Hughes, Allen, myself.
Right here.
Thank you.
Okay,
Madam Chair, we have a form.
thank you. Okay, next item on our agenda is to approve the Planning Commission special meeting minutes.
Make
For-
a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Yeah. We need to approve a quick change to our agenda to remove item D under 7, because that was handled at our last meeting.
Chair, I'll make a motion to remove item D under unfinished business.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, those opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Okay, but before I start, I'd like to invite the audience when it's their turn to talk, to remember that you're talking to the commission here. You're not talking back and forth to each other or asking each other questions. When you do get invited to ask your questions, state your statements, we would like you to go to the podium so that we can hear you clearly. And we will be asking you to state your name and your address for each one of the statements that you may or may not say or questions, so that we can have, we can have the record of it on our tape, okay? Next item on our agenda is discuss the draft ordinance language for the wetland mitigation bank, and we'll turn that over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioners, if you may so recall, back in around May of this year, the Township Board placed a moratorium on wetland mitigation banks as one was located within the township, and it's been of interest to possibly provide regulation for such land uses. So we still are in the progress of drafting an ordinance, so as of right now, I do not have any draft language for you to review at this time, but if there was any open discussion the commissioners would like to have, now would be the time to do so, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah, Chair, if I could speak on
Yes.
that. Yeah, when this came up, Eagle has the full authority to regulate wetland mitigation banks in any community. They have the final say. But what helps is having an ordinance on the books that helps regulate that as far as size and puts Eagle on notice that there is regulation in your community that regulates these type of banks. And if you don't know what a wetland bank is, what it does is they take good quality land, that's one of the stipulations, and they turn it into a wetland. And then what they do is they allow people to buy pieces of that wetland when they're getting rid of wetland in another community. Or it could be in your own community. So it could be something at the airport, they need to get rid of a half an acre of wetland to turn it into usable land. They will then buy a half acre from a wetland bank so that can be moved over. And again, the stipulation is you have to start with good quality land. You can't use wetland and turn it into a wetland bank. It is good quality land. So that's what happened here in our community. It got spec'd, it got put in, and it got approved. So we are now looking at putting in some type of ordinances to regulate those wetland banks from coming into our community, because obviously we had an issue with a wetland bank being spec'd in our community when we have some of the largest wetland areas in Wayne County. We have Crosswinds Marsh, which is the largest wetland, one of the largest wetlands in Wayne County that's in our community, and we really want to make sure that we're not allowing our good farmland to be turned into wetlands, you know, where that we can't use that to develop homes and other things in our community. So that's what this is about. We're trying to put together some ordinances that will regulate that to ensure that, you know, we can have some say in the future about that. It's actually being legislated now in Lansing. Our representative, Reggie Miller, is working on a bill to ensure that Eagle follows certain procedures when they come into a community to ensure that, you know, the local government is notified and is approving of that wetland to be there. The residents that are around that wetland are properly notified. What we found when this wetland was spec'd, it's right behind the mobile home park off of Willis. None of the tenants or residents that own the trailers in there were notified because it only required at the time that the owner of the property be notified. So, you know, the hundreds of people that were living in there were not notified that that wetland was going in right behind them. So these are things that transpired in what Joe is putting together for us so that we can have a say in our community on what happens with our land as far as wetland banks. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. So the next item on our agenda is to open the public hearing for the proposed special land use at 17450 Savage Road for the proposed purpose of outdoor sale and display of used automobiles.
Chair, I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All opposed? The public hearing is now open. You wanted to speak first?
Would you like the applicant to speak first? They are.
Sure. Yeah, okay. Is the applicant here for this item? Oh, there you are.
Engineer and.
Okay.
So I'll let him first start and then I'll go after.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Didn't even see him.
Hi, my name's Justin Novak. I'm with Smith Sherman Associates Architects. Address is 1721 McKinley, Wyandotte, Michigan. Basically, what we're proposing to do is to have some outdoor sales in the front of this existing auto repair facility. We've also, you know, in accordance with the ordinance, we've added some landscaping, a green belt along the side, and some basically a privacy fence. So if there's any questions anybody has, happy to help with as much as I can.
Okay. Did you,
You want me to talk now or I stay till the end? Because I like to give everyone talk and then I like to talk.
it's your choice.
I'll wait till the end.
Okay.
Thank you. No, you gotta be first.
Excuse me.
Yep.
Excuse me. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Okay, so, did you want to talk now? We're going to turn the floor over to our planner.
Thank you, Chair. And as already described by the applicants, what the commission is being requested to review tonight is a special land use application for outdoor sales and display of used cars. Currently, right now, the property has been operated as an auto repair shop for some time, and the addition of the outdoor sales of automobiles requires special land use approval by the commission, whose duty is to make a recommendation to the township board as to whether or not to approve the use. So, as you can see in my report on page 2, you can see an aerial view of the property, as well as some zoning information on the bottom area there. Most of the surrounding land uses and zoning is residential, with the exception of commercial zone property to the north, which also currently is outdoor storage of recreational vehicles. So as a commission, I would request you to determine compatibility with this use with surrounding properties. In terms of natural features, most of the site is developed. There is a portion of woodlands on the southwestern portion of the property, and plans provided by the applicant indicate that they are to remain undisturbed. In terms of building location and site arrangements, there's no major site changes with the use. The existing building and parking layout will remain, and additional parking spaces will be arranged in the front and rear of the building. In terms of dimensional area width, height, and setback requirements, all of those requirements have been met. We do not see any issues related to that. In terms of site access and circulation, there are two entrances onto Savage Road, which are indicated to remain, and we do ask the applicant to clarify if any work is to be done in the Savage Road right-of-ways that will require Wayne County Road Commission approval. As far as pedestrian movements, the site is being improved with up-to-code ADA ramps and facilities that currently aren't existing on the property. With the trash container location, those aren't shown on plans, so we'd just like to see clarification as to that to make sure that it's properly screened and located behind the building and out of view of the public. In terms of parking and loading, section 10.4E outlines those requirements. And with the calculations provided, 30 spaces, including 2 ADA accessible spaces, are required, and 30 spaces have been provided. However, a significant amount is labeled on plans as dedicated for the outdoor display of automobiles. So we're of the opinion that that number should be reduced to the satisfaction of the commission to ensure that enough customer parking is provided, as well as also providing the applicants enough space to display their products. In terms of landscaping and screening, general landscape calculation of 10% is required for all new site plans, and calculation has been provided, which is exceeding this, the 10%. In terms of screening too, the applicant has proposed extensive greenbelt plantings meeting the requirements of greenbelts, which is regulated by section 7.7 of the ordinance. In terms of parking lot landscaping, we do require 1 tree for every 8 parking spaces, and based on those 30 spaces, 3 parking lot trees are required. Based on the layout of the site, those 3 trees are proposed in that front island in between the 2 entrances, so we feel that that requirement has been provided. I do want to correct myself. We will need to see that 10% landscape calculation on the plans. We are of the opinion that that can be met. We just need that confirmation to be shown. In terms of essential facilities and utilities, there are no new connections, and based on the additional parking layout changes on plans which show additional parking behind the building, we will need confirmation from the applicant that they intend to hard surface that, as that is an ordinance requirement. In terms of lighting, there are no additional exterior lighting proposed with the project or signage as well, except for new ADA compliant signage. As with all special land uses, we do evaluate each use based on a certain set of criteria. The first of which is whether or not the proposed use is harmonious and in accordance with the general objectives of the township master plan. We feel that the proposed car sales is commercial in nature, and is previously used as an auto repair shop, so we feel that those 2 uses are consistent with each other and are compatible. The next criteria is whether it's designed, constructed, and operated to be harmonious with the character of the general area. We don't see any significant alterations to the site that would impact this. We might see a little bit of traffic increase. However, with additional screening measures that the applicant's proposing, we feel that that will not be an issue. The next criteria is whether or not it will be hazardous or disturbing to existing or future uses. With a lot of residential uses nearby, there is potential for some nuisances such as noise and fumes from the repairs and car sales. However, a future criteria that I will explain is that all those activities have to be indoors, which the applicant has provided will be met. And whether or not the use will be an improvements to the property and the immediate vicinity and the community as a whole. We don't see any new hazardous activities being introduced that would pose a threat to the health and safety of the township. The site will also be adequately served by essential services, as mentioned previously. We don't see any additional public cost as a result of this use, and we feel that it is consistent with the intent of the C2 zoning district where it's located. In addition to that, again, there are specific requirements for used automobile sales. First of which is there's enough pedestrian sidewalk and vehicle maneuverability, which we feel has been provided. All activities, again, related to vehicle service, washing, or repair is going to be within the building. Notes have been provided that they're going to be following that requirement. Whether or not inoperative vehicles or salvage materials will be stored outside, a note has been provided on plans that show that there's going to be no outdoor storage of any discarded or salvage material. That's all going to be inside or off property. And no flags or banners are permitted, and they aren't proposed as well. And again, the landscape greenbelt has been provided adjacent to those residentially zoned properties. There will be no broadcast or continuous music, and the property must have at least 150 feet of frontage and 35,000 square feet, which the property does meet. So, based on the information I've provided, we would recommend conditional approval of the proposed special land use with the following conditions outlined on the final page of my reports, page 8, which include Wayne County approval of work in the right-of-way, clarification of the trash enclosure location, providing an additional ADA space, as currently only one is shown on plans, dedicating additional spaces for customer parking, providing a loading space location just on plans to ensure that enough space is provided, providing also clarification on the timing and frequency of any deliveries that may occur, and again, providing that 10% landscape calculation. So if there's any questions or comments at this time from the commissioners, I'd be happy to answer them.
Sure. So on number 5, it doesn't specifically say the hard surfacing. You know, if we could add that in there, that, you know, it's something that had to be clarified, but if it's in the recommendations, then it makes it clarified.
Yes?
I know it's hard to hear.
What?
It's blowing too.
I'll speak up. I'm sorry. I'll speak up.
I couldn't hear half of what he said, and some of what he said.
Yep. I apologize. We'll try to speak up, but the microphones are very good, so if we speak too loud, it blows out on the audio when it's played back. So we try not to speak too loudly into the microphone. Okay.
But yeah, it's hard to hear, but I think you answered a lot of my questions, so when I asked them, you can just tell me what the answer said.
Okay. Any other commissioners before? No? Chair? Yes.
I don't see anything in here, as far as, you know, how many cars we're going to put, I don't know how many cars are gonna be on the lot and making sure that it's not overcrowded. How do we go about that?
Well, after, when we start doing our discussion after we close the public hearing, then we start doing that stuff.
Okay.
Okay? Just make yourself a note. It's okay. Okay, so now we're gonna turn it over to the people who've signed in to talk. So I'm gonna go down the list. I'll let you have a seat, sir. Okay, Cheryl Norden.
Okay, Judy's gonna go first. I just got here first, but Judy's gonna talk first.
Chair?
Good evening. I don't know, I brought some photographs of my property with me. I didn't know if you wanted to look at them. Sir, if you want to, can you?
Okay, ma'am, can you tell us who you are?
I will. My name is Judy Griggs Dennis, and I live at 17600 Savage Road, directly next door to the property in question. Our home was built in 1861. It was one of the original buildings in Sumpter Township. It's a very old property, and we were the original stagecoach stop in Sumpter Township, and we are directly next door. When we moved into the house 14 years ago, we took great pains to beautify and make it a beautiful place again, the way it was once upon a time. My husband, to this day, Dean, who's up here in the front row, he still maintains it and is very, very persnickety about his property and his area. So that's one of the things, our biggest concern right now. And we've spoken to the owner, well, my husband has anyway, with our concern is having the cars parked right along our property line. Having cars parked right there. I thought I heard you say, Mr. Warren, 30 car spaces. Maybe I didn't hear you correctly, but I thought you said 30. I can't imagine how you're gonna fit 30 spaces in there, but anyway. I am afraid with the cars parked right there that the aesthetic value of our property is gonna go way down. And things are gonna look really not good. And it was a commercial property, I understand that. It was a family-owned property that had a repair shop. They lived in our community, they cared about our community. I don't know the people that bought it, so I can't say anything about that. But I do know that the Hughes family were wonderful people and wonderful neighbors. They kept everything behind the main fence. My request would be not that cars are parked in the front of the building. It's gonna look not good, and other than the opinion that I don't think we need another used car lot, the fact that it's gonna be right next door to my house breaks my heart. Our property value is pretty decent right now, and I think it's gonna go down the toilet if there's cars parked, and it's a used car lot. It's a residential area. I can't imagine that there's gonna be traffic or customers that are gonna come. The hours posted on the wall, I think I saw yesterday, it looks like a brand-new sign, are 9 to 5. Most people that are looking for a car aren't looking until after they get off work, which would be after 5 o'clock. So it's gonna be random people, not from our area, that are walking around looking at the cars that are there, and they're not gonna be people we know from our area, I'm almost sure of it. I realize, like I said, it's zone commercial. And you did answer my question about no additional lighting. I was afraid having lighting there was gonna be shining in our yard. It's a beautiful area, and it's always been a nice country setting. Having this there, this commercial area, even though it's always been commercial, when they closed up at night, they put everything behind the gate, they closed the gate, they said goodnight, and everything was lovely. Now I'm just afraid with if there's all these cars in the front, it's going to be traffic that shouldn't, I'm sorry, I'm starting to get upset. I don't want that next to my house. I don't want the stuff. If they're gonna close up at 5 o'clock, awesome, dandy, close it, close the gate, close the doors, have it done. I would really rather not see cars in the front of the building. If they're in the back of the building, I mean, Jim always had his cars in the back of the building. They were there since we moved in. But I just, so stuff in the back of the building, I mean, it looks really nice right now in the back of the building, because some of those, I don't think I showed the one, but you can see through my fence. I would love to have a privacy fence there, so you can't see what's going on next door. And Jim said he would do that before he passed away, but he passed away and it didn't get done. But you know what? I understand. He had a lot going on when he was at the end. He had a lot going on. And I loved the Hughes family. And I think that carrying on their legacy with, if there's gonna be car repairs next door, that's fine. But I was under the understanding it was just gonna be a used car lot and there weren't gonna be car repairs going on. So what I heard was there's gonna be repairs also. So I didn't hear that. I mean, I didn't know that. So anyway, that's my 2 cents, and I just wanna let you know that.
Okay, thank you. Cheryl, do you wanna talk now? Cheryl Norton, you wanna, yep, you're next. Okay. I will ask after we go through the list if anybody that didn't sign wants to add.
I don't know where I should put my visual board.
Well, would you go over to the podium over there? Okay, and audience, since there's a lot of people here today, we're gonna limit everybody to 3 minutes.
Okay, this is my visual board in case anybody doesn't know what the property down at Willis and Sumpter looks like. That's Sammy's property. This is what I'm worried about coming into the backyard of that property. Why wouldn't it? He's gotta get it cleaned up down there. Why not bring it to your new property? Am I gonna get this sign in front of the building? We buy junk cars?
I don't have
And you didn't get this letter?
You're not talking to each other.
Okay.
Say your statements, ma'am.
That's the visual.
Okay.
I'm Cheryl Norden, and I have the RV and boat storage lot next door. I had something to say about that you mentioned. Okay, so I wanted to know that you might have to refer back to what your statements were. What is the maximum amount going to be allowed at any one time out front? Do you remember what you said?
That's up for the commission to decide.
Okay,
I was just going over the maximum parking spaces required, which is 30.
out front?
Just over the whole site, just for parking, not necessarily outdoor displays.
Okay, just 30 parking spots on the property. Okay, and how about behind the building? I'm just saying, I have requirements for my storage yard, 2 acres. How many vehicles I am allowed to have.
And
I
that'll
need
all
to
be
know.
Ma'am, that'll all be decided when we all do our thing, just like it was when you came to get your approvals.
Well, when I came to get my approval, the whole board and the attorney, we all went to the property so that they could visualize what we're talking about. Okay, and if you remember, they turned me down for a storage yard. Anna Rakiki said, I think it was her, said, I see this glass half full, not half empty. Because I was doing my due diligence before I purchased my property to have a bakery. And that property, that building came with 2 acres of property, and I'm like, well, we don't need 2 acres of property. But the
Okay,
building's close.
You're getting close to your 3 minutes, so you need to
Well-
state what you'd like to talk about.
I have 17 questions.
Well,
And y'all sent me a letter and said this is the time I can come and ask the questions.
okay, so ask
And
some
get-
of your questions and not talk about your property.
Okay.
Your procedure.
I'm just saying. Okay. And I wanted to know if the garage is going to be fixing these cars for sale to be sold. Do they have to fix these cars to be sold? That's just a question. Are the junk cars to part out and strip to sell parts on the open market? And what would become of the scrap? You got junk, you might scrap it out. What do you do with the scrap cars? And how much of that can be allowed? If so, how many of the new scrap cars would be allowed on the ground before being hauled away by one of them car haulers? What are the current sights and sound barrier requirements? Has a traffic flow analysis been conducted to support the large freight activity, semis and vehicle transport carriers? What current laws and restrictions are in effect currently that would require a special variance of land use? Are there intentions of using car stocking shelves to store your cars, like at Fox Auto? You know, you got shelves, you put your cars in them. My concern, like that lady on the board, is about having all these batteries and some exploding. One exploding will set off explosions. And I know you might think it's far-fetched, but it happens. And where will the required, his parking out front, I got that. Will the protocol to receive haulers be the same as we have currently witnessed? When he's been getting his haulers there, you can go out in the road, you halt traffic until you're done doing your business with your hauler. Okay, we've witnessed that. That's not acceptable. That's a fast corner. Anybody coming around there is gonna slam it. Just saying. Or will the hauler pull in and pull up to the garage door? This happened yesterday. And lay on the horn like somebody's 2 acres back and they're calling them to the front. It wasn't a beep beep, we're here. Lay on the horn, come from 2 acres back up front. And another question, comment is, isn't it the goal of Sumpter Township to move this township forward with businesses to service the whole of the community? Is the proposal something residents should be welcoming? It lowers property values. It is blight any way you want to look at it. And with haulers and horns and intrusive to the residential area. Don't you think any mechanic group would want to buy that property and serve the community rather than have what you want for yourself and you're not in the community, and have what you want for yourself and nothing for the community? Because realistically, how do you put a car lot in a residential neighborhood? Okay, I mean, if you advertised it in Crane Magazine, you'd have mechanics all over
Okay,
wanting to
ma'am.
come.
Would you please?
Would the same rules apply that the residents insisted on years ago? Display cars during the day and put behind screening at the end of the day. Now, that was something the residents of our neighborhood had requested the township have Hughes's implement. They had to put their stuff away every night, and they did. All their cars. They sold cars too. I just wondered if this was going to turn into, from what I see on these pictures, if this was going to turn into a micro version of a shop of what Phoenix Auto has, Fox Auto. They sell cars out front, they part them out inside, they sell them on the open market. They are legitimate doing that business there. It's accommodating. It's in Sumpter Township, right? So we got one at that end of the township, we've got one at Willis and Sumpter, and now you wanna have one here. He's got 150-foot frontage, and to receive a hauler 72 feet, and cars are gonna be parked there, 30 spaces of parking. I'm not sure how that's gonna work. And if you say the hauler's gonna go behind the building in one way and come out the other, I know they're not from here. I don't know if they're familiar with septic systems and how they work. But if that property has a septic, and I'm not sure it does, you shouldn't be driving semi-haulers on your septic field and on your septic tank.
Okay.
I
Are
already
you
got
almost-
that problem
ma'am?
to the north of me.
Ma'am, are you almost done? Because there's a lot of
Well,
other
I'm getting
people
there.
here.
I'm getting there, but you invited me to the meeting to express my
Right,
opinions,
and
my
I also
concerns,
told
and ask
you,
questions.
Ma'am, I also told you that we were gonna limit it to 3 minutes a person, because there are a lot of people that want to talk also.
Can I have your 3 minutes?
Excuse me,
Laura?
ma'am,
Okay.
it does not work
Okay.
that way.
Okay, so you can't hear your people who matter?
Just get through your questions, please.
I'm asking them. I told you I had 17 of them. Now, you invited me, and this matters to Sammy, and this matters to me, what your decisions are. And you're telling me 3 minutes, you can handle it? I can't. and about our adjoining parking lot, though not a shared lot. Both lots were put in at the same time, but not subject to the same use. Since the new owner purchased, my property was used as the ingress and egress while removing all the previous owner's junk. Everybody here knows how I am about my parking. I'm pretty sure everybody here knows, and there's a reason for it. My parking lot. Okay. Is there a remedy to stop the extra heavy hauling on my property? Is there a remedy to that? Before a semi pulls in there? No. Is there? No. It's just gonna happen. I already said about the sign, I hope we don't have to look at a sign that says we buy junk cars, because we buy junk cars. That's what we do. We sell used cars and we buy junk cars. And we were not allowed to have any maintenance done in our storage yard. If our customers wanted to do any maintenance on their vehicles, it was not permitted. I'm just saying. I'm sure I have a lot more to say, but that's where I'll stop because I don't want to go over too many minutes.
Okay,
But
thank you.
For now, that's that.
Thank you.
If anybody wants to see this will be in the back.
Okay, so, and I apologize, is it Imana Nasser? Did I say your name?
Sorry. I just signed in to sit, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, is that Mo Nasser for the same reason? Okay. Sammy. Justin Noah, is that? Okay. Joseph Meadows.
If I talk fast, I apologize. My name's Joseph Meadows. I live at 177 Savage, or 17700 Savage Road.
Okay,
I live next to Dan Huber's house. I'm sure all of you are aware of what's going on there right now. No, they're doing $2.5 million of remediation because the city allowed them to dump Huron River steel all over the property. So now they gotta come in and dig it all up and tear it all out. Now me, I spent the first 20 years of my life in Detroit between a rendering plant and a graphite plant, right? Not the environment you want to be in. I spent the next 20 years running around the world in blood and dirt trying not to get killed. Then in 2012, I retired and I came to Belleville so I could raise a family in a clean environment that I didn't have. Right, now you're putting me right back there again. Contamination on one side, industry on the other side. And it doesn't matter to you because it fits our aesthetic. No, it doesn't fit the aesthetic. It's a residential area. We know our neighbors. We walk outside, we wave at each other. If it was next to your house, I'm sure there'd be a different story than it meets our aesthetic. And Mr. Nasir's a nice man. And I hate to go against him because he is a nice man. I'm not. But these are our homes. My grandkids are going to play in this yard. Thank God my kids are grown and gone now, that they don't have to go through this. And you say it's not going to have lighting, but it's going to have lighting. You say it's not going to have advertising. It's going to have advertising. It's a business. And we know what that means. I've got wild turkey in my backyard. I got deer in my backyard. I got raccoons in my backyard. You start doing all that noise and all that, I'm not going to have anything in my backyard except me and my dogs. And right now I walk back there, it's like I'm in a burn pit. I don't know if they're just getting rid of the dirty stuff or whatnot, but it's burning oil in my backyard. And it might not be him, and I'm not putting that on him. Might just be the fact that they're taking stuff out and moving stuff away, you break the ground and that smell comes up. But I'll tell you right now, that smell is petroleum and it's a goddamn burn pit. Now, it might be the stuff they're doing to remediation. I don't know. But I'll tell you now, keep thinking that this is the aesthetic for your city, and pretty soon you're not going to have a city. You're going to have a dump, just like I grew up in Detroit. And again, I apologize for going against you, Mr. Nisker. I know you're a good man. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
service.
Thank you for your service.
Daniel Schultz, sorry.
Daniel Schultz from Willis Road, 44895. Lived there for over 30 years. I've seen a lot in this township, a lot of blight that's still been there since I've been a teenager. It's not been addressed. I've been to the ordinance many times. This man is trying to bring a nice, legitimate business to the community, which is going to bring taxes, money, prosper for all of us. So why not give him a chance and let him do it? I don't see any reason to hold him back. And as far as the people that got the residence, you should have thought about that when you bought it. You bought next to a commercial property. Anything can happen. I live next to commercial now. It's the busiest corner in the township. It wasn't 20, 30 years ago. It was quiet. Wasn't nothing there. So you got to take that into factor. But I think y'all should let him get up there and do what he's got to do. He'll bring a lot of business in. That corner's doing real good right now. So let's keep it going. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Schultz. Next person, Andrea Hughes.
I just signed it, sorry.
You just signed it, Cheryl Hughes? Same thing? Okay, and I apologize, I can't read this writing. Looks like a Ron. And you live on Riggs Road?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. Can you say your name so?
My name is
Okay.
Ron Watson,
Okay,
and I've known Sammy for about 10 years. I live in the neighborhood of this area, and I've gone past this when Hughes had it, and it was not as clean as everyone says it was. There was cars parked, and the mess in the back was horrible. You know, he never threw anything out. It was all back there for 40 years. So, and I've probably bought 5 to 6 cars off of Sammy over the year. He is a community person that tries to help people that come into town. You know, people in the area that need a cheap car, he tries to help them out. And I know he's done things for me that, you know, most car dealers won't. So I just want to say I think he's going to make that business nice. And I get why the bake shop lady is upset, but a lot of her traffic goes through Sammy's parking lot too.
All of it.
So, I mean, her delivery trucks come through there, I've seen them. So, every car that comes through there
Stop,
goes through your lot.
stop.
But
Use that gavel.
the point
use
is,
the gavel?
I think that
First
he's
time
gonna
you
bring a
might
nice
speak it.
business to this town, help the community with, you know, cars and, you know, working on them. I've had a few people talk to me and say, hey, I hope he works on cars, because we only have a couple places that do it, in Belleville and Sumpter. So, that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Next person is,
42846.
oh wait.
Yep.
Okay, next person is Steve Memmering.
Steve Memmering, I own a property on Sumpter Road and Bemis. I think Sammy would be good for the community. I had a car lot in Belleville, and he's done bought the property, so he's gonna do it. And I'm proud of him, and I back him 100%. And I'll make it, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Sammy.
Okay. And then there's one other person, and I apologize, I can't read this handwriting either. It looks like,
Something with a C?
it starts with a C, and I think the last name starts with a M or a W.
Any street?
Huh?
Any street?
Just 48111 Belleville.
I can get up. Now it's my turn.
Okay. Wait, nope, not yet.
We have a couple.
We have a number of people in the audience that did not sign in, so would you like to go to the podium? Tell us who you are and where you live, so that our township clerk can make sure it's in the
Hi.
minutes.
My name is Christina Sanchez. I'm at 17700 Savage Road. Joe Meadows is my honey. We don't like people. Okay, so, yeah, he's gonna have lighting. He's a business. That lighting is not very good. Don't tell me you're gonna have it between the hours of 9 to 5, because people who are gonna be looking for cars are gonna be looking, like you say, after work, on the weekends, early morning even, maybe. So there's gonna be a lot of lighting, there's gonna be a lot of signage. I'm sorry, did I interrupt you? My apologies. I don't know what's going on with the property now. My bedroom is in the back part of the house. So I'm breathing in a lot of crap. I don't know what it is, but it definitely is not wood. I'm getting a lot of smoke. I don't know what it is. It's definitely not supposed to be burning. The noise that I'm hearing gunshots. I'm hearing gunshots late at night. I'm hearing gunshots. The other day was all day. Don't tell me I'm not hearing this, because my window's open and I'm right there. The dogs are going crazy. I'm up at all hours of the night because my neighbor's dogs are going crazy. Okay? That's not how it used to be. That's only been within the last couple months. I'm tired. I don't think having this is gonna be good. We got enough traffic with Turtle Cove. We got enough traffic with the bar. Congratulations to all of them. But this part, the south part of Bemis, should be residential, should remain residential. Hughes wasn't as loud. These people ain't even there yet. We're seeing fights. We're hearing the gunshots. We don't need that. Keep that out of there. Take it back to wherever you were before. You had apparently, I'm hearing that you had a
Ma'am, if you're
successful.
making accusations without proof, you need to stop.
Apparently, there was a successful car lot before that this person owned, I'm assuming, through what everybody's saying. It could still be successful. Keep it there. That part there, south, should just be left alone for residential. Anything else, I mean, taking it into Sumpter, more towards Belleville, where a lot of the commotion is going on, that'd be great too. But we don't need another, we're gonna have people coming through there that we don't want, we don't know. People turning around, people coming through. We don't know these people. It's just a throwaway. You should just drive through, drive out, just like Turtle Cove. You come into the Metro Park, you go through, you go out. We don't want people lurking around.
Okay, thank you. I get that, not her. Oh, okay. Any other, yes?
Hi, Andrew Van Houten, 40869 Bemis. So my property is directly behind the proposed property, and I do have several questions and concerns I'd like to just mention. I won't be long. So there was a mention of hours of operation, 9 to 5, which okay, but I know that if that's what the time frame is where customers are allowed to come and actively purchase cars or look at cars, there will very likely, I'm assuming, be repair activities occurring outside of those hours. So my concern is that even though that the recommendation is to have that work done indoors, sound travels, and especially well through the woods. So that's one concern that I have. The lighting was addressed, and also there was a comment about the woodland area in the back remaining undisturbed. I guess a question I have for that is, if there are changes made after this is approved, are we required to then, as residents, constantly being up here requesting the ordinances to be enforced, or the commitments are agreed to at the time of this allowance approval to be to be carried out without any sort of variation or deviation from what was agreed upon originally. And that seems to put the burden on the neighbors to try and have to enforce that or seek that enforcement ourselves. Because I think, generally speaking, maybe the ordinance enforcement isn't real strong suit of the township. No disrespect. I know it's a difficult job. One question I have is would it be possible to get a copy of the planning commission's report with the layout, proposed layout, detailing where things should be, maybe after the trash situation is clarified? I would like to have that again, because if the residents nearby are going to be responsible for holding the property owner to account for what was agreed upon, I'd like to know what exactly was agreed upon. In terms of inventory quantity, I would like to know what is the maximum allowed inventory for vehicles that aren't allowed to be parked out front. Obviously, I have a strong vested interest in what the back of the property looks like. You know, I didn't know Mr. Hughes. He sounded like a good community guy, but there's a lot of crap on my property from many, many years. And so my concern is that that may continue. Maybe not now, but in the future. And so that's something I'm very aware of, as well as any sort of modifications to that woodland area. The hauler unloading and loading is a concern that I have. I do a lot of vehicle shipping myself for my work. And so I know the noise and racket it makes when you have a car hauler sitting for hours during unloading, waiting for vehicles to be staged and loaded, and the sort of traffic problems that can bring with it. So that's a concern that I have. You know, these are commercial lots, so I understand that, you know, businesses have to operate. The bar's doing great. I wish it maybe sometimes it wasn't doing quite so well because of the traffic, but you know, we're willing to kind of look past that because they're pretty respectful as far as keeping pretty quiet in the evenings, and certainly that was the case with the Hughes. So, you know, I don't know the gentleman who's purchased the property, but that's a concern that I have that behavior continues in the neighborhood. Maybe one of the biggest concerns that I have though is some of the firearm activity. You know, sighting in a shotgun or something is one thing, and I'm well aware of what that sounds like. And the activity that occurred over the last couple weeks was not that. And I don't know if it's bump stocks or AR-15s or modified what, but there's no reason why that sort of activity should have been occurring with, you know, the bullets flying directly into and over my property. And I don't care if there's a backstop or a berm to catch that. My kids play in the backyard. And my wife is scared enough about, you know, we live in a rural neighborhood, right? And I shoot guns in the backyard occasionally. And I sight in shotguns and stuff to hunt. But in the fall, she's paranoid enough about the kids just walking back in the woods and in the trails that we've got in our property. And, you know, it sounds like a freaking war zone, and you know that's just something that I didn't sign up for, and frankly I don't know what that has to do with selling used cars. So I have some concerns. I don't know this gentleman from the man on the moon, so I can only hope that if this gets approved, he'll be a good neighbor and take these things into account. But I really, the firearm stuff is not okay with me. So.
I don't own a firearm. I never shot on that one.
Okay,
Then
stop.
Then I would request the commission to strongly suggest that the applicant get better control over who's allowed on his property as a means to mitigate that. One last concern I have, right? So if the hours of operation are 9 to 5, there's nothing preventing any member from the public perusing the vehicle inventory at any time. Right? Morning, noon, or night.
But
And
that is
so-
just like if you go to Atchison or any other car dealership.
The difference is that I don't think it's necessarily a fair comparison to compare Belleville Road through Van Buren Township with our sleepy little corner.
Okay.
Why not? Because, sorry, I won't address you directly, but
Okay.
that's a concern I have, and I understand the need for commerce and to, you know, grow the community. I'm not sure that that's the right spot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other?
What's my
Yes.
turn?
No. Do you want to speak? Okay. You need to go to the podium and tell us who you are, and where you live.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Okay, here. I live next door to the Sumpter Road property, which was purchased in September of 2024. I got access to the site plan. Nothing has been done on the site plan. The property has been in use for over a year. The parking lot looks the same as it did when he first bought it. Yes, he has moved a lot of cars over to the bakery. But the bakery is crying, and some of those cars are coming back to Sumpter Road. So he's going to find the car. Nothing has been done on the site plan. There's been an extension. 12 months, September 24th was when it was purchased. It is now it's October 25th, 2025. And that parking lot has not been done. I don't know if the septic has been put in. No permits have been done. He moved everything over there. Now it's coming back over to me. It is a junkyard. It is not safe. I don't sleep well, not because of the work. I don't sleep well because cars were being piled on top of each other. That's right now you can't find that. But that's what he did. That is not a good neighbor. I've begged and begged for a firewall because now there's nobody over there because he's over at the bakery. But the lithium batteries have always been my most concern. And now that there's nobody there, I get up in the middle of the night 2 or 3 times to make sure there's no fire going on. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be able to do that. It's not safe, and he'll just move the cars back and forth. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other guests? Yes, sir? Oh, she wants to go, okay.
Hello, everyone. My name's Lisa Gill. I'm at 17601 Savage Road. I'm directly across the street. We've been there since 1969. I want to start with the safety issue. Today, with everything that's going on, when you stop with that hauler in the street, these people are coming around this corner faster than 45 miles an hour, and they are not paying attention. It's a very dangerous corner. I watch it every day. Accidents happen several times there. It's a very scary situation. So that's just not safe to do that. You can't do it right there in that particular spot. It just isn't gonna work with the way people drive and the mindset of everyone nowadays. My other concern is, I don't have a lot of money, and the semi-truck that dropped off or picked up some stuff from there used my driveway to pull in, and I only have a small asphalt at the end of my driveway. A semi-truck pulled in there to back into their gate, used my property. Then my other concern is my mailbox is actually right next to theirs because of the fact Mr. Hughes and I, we couldn't have it where it's supposed to go because we lose them. they plow them down. So he said, put it next to mine here. Now what am I gonna do about my mailbox? I'm not sure. I don't know. The other thing is, I own the house at 44575 Michigan Avenue on the corner of Artley and Michigan Avenue. There's a car lot right there. We have renters in there right now, but I live that with the car dealership right next door to us and people roaming all hours of the night. We've owned that home since the 1970s also. I knew that was gonna change because of course it's Michigan Avenue. This, when I bought my grandparents' house and came out here, I was born in '69 when they bought it. So I've been there my whole entire life and I've seen the progress and everything. The small businesses that we have, they're amenities to us. The park is an amenity to us. A car dealership is not. It brings people in after hours. If everything were to go, if you had 20 cars for sale during the day and your business shuts down and you put it behind the gate, then we're not gonna have people roaming the neighborhood at all hours of the night looking at the cars. But if they stay out there, we are gonna have people there. There's gonna be people just roaming around looking at the cars. My concern is just a real safety concern, and I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm very concerned about it. But the semi-truck stopping in the middle of the road and hot in traffic, somebody's gonna get killed. I watch it every day. I can't even pull in my driveway half the time. I just keep going or I'm gonna get rear-ended. So, and when I sit in my living room and look out, that's what I'm gonna see is cars out there. When everything was shut down, you know, the building, I don't mind looking out there and seeing a building, no cars for sale and that out my front window. But to look out and look at a car dealership in our area, we have so many of them, and it's just not the place for it. Maybe he could work on his cars there and then take them to his other lot to sell them. It's a great garage to work on his stuff, but I don't see how it could be a car dealership. When people come out to our area to look for cars, they're looking for people that are selling their cars that their mom and pa's put out in their yard that are good deals for them. They're not coming there looking for a used car lot. And we do look like it's a very busy area because we've grown so much and all those people live over there. And we are a residential area, and it is Sumpter Farm subdivision. Thank you.
Any other people that would like to talk? Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Ovidio Suchu. I live at 44399 Cosma Street. So I'll be quick, less than 3 minutes. If you guys ask yourself, we need a repair shop in this town, I would say yes, yes, yes. I'll give you an example. A week ago, I had to change my brake. I went downtown Belleville. None of the shops wouldn't help me. It was steel on steel. But I know Sammy for 25 years, and I bet you any one of you over here, talking with or without him, he will open the door and will help you, no matter what time of day and night it is. And yes, if I'm gonna go with him and he will help me in 30 seconds, in 30 minutes to fix something, I will stop and have a donut. Because it's a commercial area in that area. Thank you very much.
Any other residents? Okay, Sammy, would you like to talk?
Of course, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I've been waiting for that, man.
Good afternoon, everyone who spoke against me and who's with me. I appreciate you all for coming. I don't know how long I've known Mr. Hughes. I've known him, may God bless his soul, for 30-some years. In the past 5 years, he was ill, and he was coming to the Sumpter location across the street from Ace. And then he's just smoking a cigar, getting away from his wife because she won't let him smoke at home. So anyway, he goes, Sammy, you are a hard-working man, a family man. You've been in this town for almost 30-some years. You deserve a building. I'm getting ready to retire, and I'm gonna see what the options are. So in the past 2.5 years, we went on, and then we finally agreed. He was very ill, and he still was coming by. Finally, August 8, we signed the paperwork, the purchase agreement. August 11, he passed away. He said, I want you to get that shop. I have a repair facility and parts and a garage. I have a 15 parking spot outside. And I don't know if I have a boat yard next door or Detroit boat yard or New York boat yard, but you gotta live with it. That's what it is. Finally, he goes, it's a commercial all the way down to Sam's Bar. Dean is your next door neighbor. He don't mind. Just be nice to the neighbors, see what they want, put privacy fence, eliminate the noise. They're a good neighbor. So we bought the property. We did the business license. By the way, Mrs. Harris, I have not been to Sumpter property in a month and a half.
You were at my door the other day.
I went to talk to you about the meeting.
Stop.
Anyway, all the traffic been coming through Savage Road. They've been crossing from the bake shop to my property, including the delivery on Friday for the semi-truck. I don't mind. She's my neighbor. I love Cheryl. I've known her for a long time. But I'm not her enemy. I got kids to raise. I got tuition to pay. I'm not hurting anyone. I will go by the book, according to the ordinance, what they say. I'm allowed to put 15 cars outside, and a repair facility that need to be worked on, I can put them behind the fence. That's no problem. I'm gonna do some landscaping. By the way, I have a 169 frontage, and I have a semi-truck, the way Mr. Hughes did it, that can roll all the way around, 169 foot. And I have 20-foot gate, another 20-foot gate. And I have a big parking spot on the right side. I don't bother nobody. I do not have a semi-truck parking in the middle of the road. This is when all the scrap was in the back, the hauling it out of that yard. I'm not strange to that community. I love this community. That's why I decided to buy that property and invest in that township. All what I'm asking you all, give me a chance, and I will prove everyone talk against me, they are wrong. This is gonna be state of the art. Nice display. No lighting for whoever asks about the lighting outside. No lighting. It's gonna be a nice display cars, period, according to the schedule on time. They had on Saturday, they had a fundraising for a guy had a motorcycle accident. Both his legs were cut off. They were doing fundraising at the bar. Over 150 cars they want to park. They have no place. So the owner and the manager and the guy that related to the person, they came over. He goes, Sammy, I'm sorry, we can't park anywhere. Nobody will let us park in their parking lot. I said, what the issue? He goes, we have a fundraising for a guy lost his both legs in this community. Would you help him? I said, come on, man. This parking lot is open. Both gates are open. Might as well bring all the cars and park them here. And they saying, I'm a sore eye in this community. I'm an outsider from this community. I've been in this community for 33 years. I start working at the Sunoco station, 17440, 1991. I left 2016. I opened the car lot across the street from Ace. 9 years. I've been serving this community. I'm not outsider. I own 3 property in this township. I pay my dues. I do my dues to this township. I love the township. I love the official of this township. That's what I want to do business, and please give me the chance. Thank you all.
Well, before we close the public hearing, I'm gonna read one additional letter that was submitted by our township clerk, well, to our township clerk. It says, to whom it makes concern, as a resident of this area, which I truly love, enjoy, and plan on living for hopefully the remainder of my life, I am totally opposed to a car dealership in the vicinity. It's already rather congested with Sam's Bar and Metropolitan Parkway. It's kind of odd intersection, which already is concerning. Any questions or concern, please don't hesitate to call me, Brian Walsh, and then he gives his address and phone number. Okay? Okay.
There's no one else, then we can close the
Yeah.
public hearing?
There's no other, okay, we need a motion to close the public hearing.
Sure, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
All agreed?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so now, commissioners, it's our turn to talk, ask questions.
If I may, Chair.
Mhm.
In lieu of all the information that's been presented tonight, Commissioners, if there's any concerns you may have based on public comments or your own concerns, they're very valid to bring up, and in doing so, you can impose any sort of conditions that you feel on this property and use to uphold the health, safety, and welfare of the township. So if there's any conditions in terms of hours of operation, number of outdoor cars for display, those are all on the table for you to discuss and amongst yourselves, and put any conditions that you may want in order to preserve the character of the area. So if there's any more questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Yep,
Okay.
Chair. Joe, can you confirm exactly all activities that will be happening on the property as requested?
With this, with the application?
With the application and the current activities that are approved for the site, so everything that possibly could be happening with this application.
So previously, the site was approved for auto repair, which has been continuing on for many years now. And the special land use application was for the outdoor sales and display of used cars. So it would only be display of cars and the sale and the repair potentially.
Okay.
And I thought I heard parts, so this is not parts.
And parts and part sales. And I will note, one of the requirements of the ordinance regulates that all this type of use, there's no chance that any inoperative vehicles or discarded or salvaged materials can be present on the property. So any sort of, half-constructed cars or batteries or any sort of that, any kind of parts would not be allowed.
And just so we're clear, are these used parts or new parts?
Used parts.
Only used, Sammy?
Okay. Another item that they talked about was the fencing, and I know it's on the plan, but can it be extended all the way up to the whole side of the property?
So it looks like on their plans, the landscaping and privacy fence extend to pretty much the, it's hard to say, but it goes beyond the front edge of the parking lot. So it's
Okay.
going pretty far to the property line, I would say.
Almost about 10 foot from the gate.
Okay. And on the same idea of a fence, could there be a fence be put between your property and the bake shop so that,
There is a privacy fence between us.
no, I meant all the way, so they wouldn't be parking?
I'm gonna put a concrete stopper to stop all the traffic going through my parking lot, so I don't have to replace my pavement.
Okay, and she wouldn't have them in hers either, by putting that concrete barrier?
I will ask the township if there's any permit or any permission, so I can go ahead and do
Okay. And I know your property on Sumpter Road was locked at night.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you planning on having it locked, this
Yes,
one locked
always
at
been
night?
locked. Both gates are locked.
Okay,
Only display vehicle, which is 15 to 20 car, will be displayed outside. Repair facility customers for repairs, they're gonna be behind the gate. Any unoperable vehicle will be behind the gate.
no, what I meant was, on Sumpter, where you had the fence running
All-
right over
everything gonna be
something.
behind, except the display car on the right side, close to the building, will be displayed outside 15 cars.
15
They're
cars.
gonna be, is that according to the plan, right? 12. I'm
12,
sorry.
okay,
12
Yes,
cars?
ma'am.
okay.
Yes.
I'm not gonna call on you, the floor's not yours now.
Well, I couldn't hear when he was speaking, what he was saying.
Oh, okay,
And I just wanted to clarify.
Okay.
If you had mentioned
There will be used part sales.
Ma'am,
No,
we,
I have questions, ma'am.
ma'am, it's
You are
not
the
open.
elected officials. You are to serve us.
We are not the
You're
elected
one that puts a
officials.
3-minute time limit and not allow people to talk.
It is not open floor time right now. It is commission time.
Chair, so
Yes.
I could follow up, because that was kind of my question on the used parts. Is that zoned for used auto parts, or is that an additional special land use?
Used part sales?
Yes. I know what may have been going on there, but doesn't mean it was appropriately, zoned for that, or you had special land use for that, so now that's changing owners, we have to ensure that, anything that's gonna happen there has to be covered under that,
I'm just trying to have a little dialogue. Would the used parts come from the junk vehicle, used vehicles?
So the ordinance does not specifically state used part sales are special land use, but what are permitted in the C2 are retail facilities, which I would be of the opinion that the sale of such parts would be a retail operation rather than something requiring special land use.
Chair, if I could follow up with Sammy. So, Sammy, just to clarify, where are you gonna be getting the used parts from? Just, that's one of the concerns is that,
Some cars like that.
that's one of the concerns is that you're not allowed to have inoperable cars or junk cars parked on the property. So you wouldn't be able to have junk cars parked on the property to harvest those parts from. That's why I'm kind of asking how you're gonna get the parts.
Some used ones.
Yeah. I think that's, that's critical to understand how the parts are gonna be secured. Because the approval of the special land use prohibits you from having inoperable cars or junk cars on the property, period. So you wouldn't be able to bring a car in, park it there, and part it out over a few weeks and leave it parked in the back and pull parts as you need it. That's not allowed under the ordinance. So the used auto parts is why I'm concerned, is because I don't know how you're gonna get the used auto parts. You can bring the car in to your shop, pull the parts off there, but then that car cannot go back outside and be set in the lot, the way that the ordinance and the special land use reads. I just wanna make sure you understood that, so. And I'm assuming you're gonna have this is gonna be a registered garage with the state license and all that?
Already I applied for the
Yep.
repair facility license.
Yes, okay. And I would recommend that we make that as part of the special land use, that it has to maintain the garage license, the facility license, because we've already had that issue with another auto repair place in the community that refused to get that state garage license. So this way it would be, the special land use would be contingent upon that being maintained, so that if it failed, your special land use would fall.
Running it through,
Yeah.
everything will be fine. with the
Yep.
state.
Okay. Any other commission questions or comments or clarification requests? From either?
I just want to clarify a couple things, if I could, Mr. Nazar. So, as Mr. Adi was mentioning, it would be against ordinance to be able to harvest any parts from the cars and leave the cars on the property. What would be the plan, and how would you get
Car
those
will be
parts
moved out of the property after the car taken out.
Pardon?
Car will be moved out of the property all the way after the car taken out.
And you're allotting 12 spaces for vehicles that you will be selling, correct?
Outside.
Outside, 12 spaces?
Display, that's what, according to the plan. what
The
we
site,
submit.
yep. Okay, and you did mention that you do want to put up the concrete barrier.
I do, yes, ma'am.
So, how tall would that be?
Probably 12 inches high, just to block, I don't want anybody to go to my parking lot.
Is there requirements on that?
Yeah.
In terms of providing, like, prohibiting
think,
access
yeah.
through.
Well, it's like, you know, sometimes you can't put a boulder in your front yard because people go into your front yard,
Right.
you know. I'm just wondering what the regulation is, just so Sammy's not putting up something that, you know,
It's
is
not
not
regulated.
inconducive to it.
Should the mail lady have to go through there to get both your and her?
She comes from the first entrance, goes from the second entrance. She does it 50 times.
Then they need a bunch of survey.
You,
They need a
you
survey
work-
to
Joe,
determine
I mean,
whose
Sammy?
property,
Yes.
which
I just wanted
property.
to address.
Okay, you guys need to
Some type of
stop
survey
talking to
determine
each other,
Where the line is.
because it's not open floor.
What we're
Okay.
looking at, Sammy, just so you understand, is that, you know, I don't like the idea of a 12-inch concrete block. People are gonna not see it, they're gonna drive over it, and I wanna make sure that whatever goes up there is conducive with the ordinance and is proper and aesthetically looks
Yes.
good, you know.
Mr. Ali, I'm not gonna do anything unless I come to the township building department and then make sure what is the requirement by the township.
Yep, and I just wanna know just what Joe
Yeah,
was
we
looking
just,
for.
and then when you had mentioned that, I just wanna make sure we're
I
not,
never did anything in that building without me coming to the building department and did anything in that building.
okay.
Yep.
I know
think
the privacy fence is something that is,
It could be something in the contingency that, you know,
Okay.
Right.
whatever is going to be used to separate the properties would be,
He
you
has
know,
to get approval from
yeah,
the
approved, yeah.
other landowner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
approval
this
by the planner.
Planner and,
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
in accordance with the ordinance.
okay.
There's one more letter that Joe just said that we received. This letter's from Michael and Laura Graff. This is a statement in opposition of the proposed land use variance at 17450 Savage Road, Belleville, Michigan, 48111. This is a residential area and a car dealership would disrupt the daily lives of residents as well as causing traffic, safety, and environmental concerns. Haggerty and Savage Road already has congestion, high traffic, and frequent crashes. A dealership would exacerbate this issues with car haulers and test drives, especially with drivers being unfamiliar with the area and many winding roads. It will add increased damage to roadways already burdened with many semi-trucks, which increase the burden on taxpayers. There is also a concern of customer and employee parking, as the area in front of the building is not large and may require parking along the road where there is no shoulder. This would be incredibly dangerous and likely result in many car crashes. In addition, there would be security concerns with cars being left unsecured overnight and the potential for increased legal activity against surrounding residents. Environmental concerns include hazardous waste and chemical runoff. This puts extra strain on the habitat that is already rife with factory and manufacturing pollution. In addition, a dealership would add light and noise pollution, and that would affect sleep schedules and those working from home. This could also potentially hazardous to local animal populations and migration patterns. Overall, a dealership would degrade the neighborhood and decrease property values. It would cause safety, traffic, environmental, and financial burdens to the surrounding residents and overall community. We object to the special land use variance and implore you to deny it. Thank you, Michael and Laura Graft. That goes with that. Okay. Any other commissioner questions or?
Yeah, I did, Chair, and this is for Sammy. Sammy, is there any possibility that the cars, you know, after hours could be parked, you know, behind, or, you know, at least a number of them, and maybe only leave one or two out, or have them all, you know,
Mr. Ali,
behind the
talking
fence?
about the display vehicle that
Yeah.
can be for sale outside.
Yeah.
If this is what the township wants, we can do that. We can haul them at night, after night hour, we park behind the fence. That will eliminate thief and then looking out for people coming, roaming in the neighborhood.
Right.
If that would help, might as well.
Okay.
I think it would help. I mean, you heard a lot of people,
I
you
would do
know,
that, and that's what
share
I would do.
concerns about that.
Any other questions, comments? No?
Before before a motion is made, Chair, I will remind the commission that they are the recommending body in terms of the special land use, so this will be going to the township board for final approval.
Okay. So do we have a proposal?
Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the special land use, recommendation of a special land use, under the stipulations added that the garage license is maintained as a part of the special land use. The outdoor display of vehicles will be moved behind the fenced area after 5.
Privacy fence?
Yes, in the privacy fence. And there'll be additional, if it's approved by the board, there'll be additional site plan recommendations and things that can be placed on it also.
Yes, the board will have an opportunity to also place their own conditions on the property. And I just want, for clarification, Commissioner, this would also include my previous comments in my report?
Yes,
Okay.
including the addition of the hard surfacing that we added to number 5.
Right. Okay, so that's Mr. Adi's motion.
So I just want to clarify. So we've got obviously the agenda items 1 through 8 that you were just speaking of. We'll have those, but additionally, making sure that there's only 12 cars, that there's a privacy fence, the cars are put behind the fence at night, eliminating looking, theft, et cetera, et cetera. And the privacy fence is a huge one. Just making sure that runs all the way.
Yep, and I think we also have to add if there's any barriers or any fencing or things that are gonna be put up between the properties, it's approved, by the planner, to be in accordance with the ordinance and things.
Correct. Since that privacy fence section isn't included on the plans, they would need to come to me and the building department before putting that up.
Okay. And the one between the 2 businesses?
Yes, that's.
Okay, okay. Okay, so that's Mr. Adi's recommendation, your
I'll amend
clarification
my
of what
motion
it?
to include what Ms. Van Ash said had to add.
Okay.
And I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Do you want to do a roll call vote?
I would suggest that.
Yeah.
Roll call vote. Aye.
Yes.
Wilkowski.
Yes.
Paulin.
Yes.
Van Ash.
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Watson's excused. Ali Moulton.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion carries. And we now are going to move on to new business on our agenda. Okay, thank you.
We're
Actually, on item B in new business.
we were in new business, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was new business item 6A that we just.
Oh, okay,
So now we're on new business item 6B.
okay.
Like I said, it's more restrictions. We control everywhere if you follow what is, I'm sure you follow this. And it's just, it sucks because
Jane, if you want to call the next item, we can
Yeah.
get going.
Okay, next item we're gonna talk about is 6B, which is consider approval for making solar ordinance residence revisions.
Firearm ordinances are regulated by the state. And so that we don't have a local ordinance on it because we follow the state. law. This is for you. The state law requires you that any firearm discharges have to be 450 feet.
If you wanna leave, you're welcome to leave so we can finish the rest of our meeting.
Yeah. and
Yeah.
Sammy said he doesn't want to.
Thank you,
let
sir.
people back there.
I just need to allow for it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay, I love your house, by the way. It looks very nice. I'm glad you gave me the year because I was wondering when it was, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
we're moving on
Thank you.
to item B, which is consider approval to make solar ordinance
Thank you, I appreciate it.
revisions.
Thank you.
Oh, where does she want to leave her pictures?
Oh, wait.
Well, if you'd like, Chair, I could
Okay,
go into detail about
yes.
what the revisions you're looking at today.
Okay.
All right. So these are just a few changes to our current ordinance for large-scale solar energy systems. One of the big changes is just reclassifying one of the definitions from large solar energy systems to utility-scale energy systems. And one of the biggest changes with that is we're removing a provision in that definition that states that a large solar energy system has to have a capacity of 1 megawatt or greater. As of right now, that's going to be revised to utility scale energy solar system, which is, your large, high capacity systems, to instead any sort of system that is selling the electrical energy generated for the consumption and sale to the public grid. So that is the main change here. So that way, even though if it's a smaller scale sites, less than 1 megawatt, they're still going to be required to come to us as the planning commission and have us review their site plan. So that's the main change there, and you'll see throughout the draft language here that I've just made a few changes from large to utility, and just providing greater clarification. I'll also state that again, the permitted zoning districts for utility scale solar has been revised to only the industrial districts, as previously it was the agricultural, so that
Right.
is the main primary change for this ordinance revision. So if there's any questions at this time, I would be happy to answer them from the commissioners.
No, if we're gonna look at, moving this tonight, I'd like to go through page by page and.
This will only be a discussion as we didn't publish a hearing notice.
For a special, for
For,
public hearing.
for an ordinance amendment. So this is merely just a discussion between the commission, and if there's any revisions that the commissioners had for me to add to this draft, we can do so, and then also set a public hearing for next year.
Yeah, and I think, so looking at like the utility scale, I think we have to dig down a little bit deeper because people who have a home solar system can sell it back to the grid. And so if we're gonna say, the sale, for sale or delivery, are we encompassing, just a private homeowner that, is selling excess power back to the grid? So I don't know how we do that, or how we word that in a way that excludes, residential use. But a lot of the power companies are buying back excess power from residential customers.
Yeah, and there is a definition on page 2 which kind of delineates between the two. So there is personal scale solar energy systems, which is accessory to primary use, which would be in this case a single family home. And then that last sentence there says intended to be solely used for private purposes rather than commercial resale. So even if someone were to say, oh, it's personal scale, but I'm selling back, they would be subject then to the utility scale provisions, which require special land use approval. And if there's any sort of clarification the commission would request to maybe make that more apparent, I would be happy to make those changes, but if commissioners are comfortable with those two definitions and how they're delineated, that would be okay too.
I see if you can work on that, because I know even, we have a board member that has a small solar array that, can actually push his stuff back to the utility provider, to sell that, and, I don't know if we want to have them fall under the ordinance that, requires fencing and, all kind of other, type of safety requirements. So if there's a balance there, that wouldn't, suck in somebody who just has a normal size.
So for clarification, the commission is okay if it's a small amount of energy, as you just mentioned with the board member, where it's, not an insane amount, but rather, I guess I can find a baseline for that.
Maybe it's excess residential, use power.
As long as it's, yes, as long as the sale of energy is not strictly commercial, like if they can prove that it's primarily to power their home, then they would fall under the personal scales. And that could be an interpretation that me as the zoning administrator can make, or if you would like to make that language more clear, we can add a little bit into that.
If you could look at it, maybe if there's something you could balance that out with. And I wouldn't want somebody who just has a normal solar system that, they sell back to the grid into, larger requirements. Obviously, if they have a 1 acre for their house, that they're, doing it as commercial.
Okay. I will make that change.
Okay.
Is there any other questions or comments before we move on?
So the next item on our agenda is to consider approval for 2016 Planning Commission meeting date schedules.
Motion to approve.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Chair, now that we have discussion, I wanted to make sure that everybody notices that we've updated the planning to be every month, so that we don't have to have special meetings put on the agenda for somebody who's looking to get something done.
Right.
Previously, they were having to pay, to have a special meeting.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we did that, lots of years ago we did it. Yes, sir?
Madam Chair, I just had the motion or support for consider approval to make solar ordinance revision.
Oh,
No,
okay.
incorrect. Motion to approve.
This would just be a motion to, in essence, require the planning consultant to make the requested changes and then also set a public hearing date for January's planning commission meeting.
I'll make a motion to consider approval to make those solar ordinance revisions and have the planner schedule a public hearing for those revisions.
In
Thank you.
January?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Okay. Yeah, we used to do it years ago, every month. Okay. Unfinished business. Consider approval for proposed special land use at 25891 Sumpter Road. Back
Chair?
to you.
So in terms of the considerations for special land use, what we're looking at in this case are the general standards for special land uses and the specific land use standards for the outdoor sale and display of automobiles. In terms of the general considerations for all special land uses in the township, we feel that all the criteria mentioned in my report have been met. In terms of the specific land use considerations, however, there is one item of concern that the commission will need to make a determination on, and that is the form of screening on the southern portion of the site along the residential boundary there. As of right now, a chain fence with wooden slats is proposed as the main form of screening, which will require your approval to be put forward. And you'll see on page 5 of my report, under the screening portion of the landscaping section, the ordinance calls out for a combination of solid, opaque fence consisting of ordinance listed material, which is face brick, poured in face simulated face brick, precast brick panels, stone or wood that are mentioned in the ordinance. So the commission would want to make that determination that the wooden slats consist of ordinance approved materials. That is something that you can go ahead and be good with, but if there's something more, I guess, robust form of screening you would like to see on that southern boundary, the commissioners more within their rights to request that form of screening. So besides that, we would recommend that the planning commission recommends conditional approval of special land use subject to approval of the type of screening that's currently proposed, or if the commission determines that a better, more robust form of screening would be required.
Well, based on the comments of the lady that showed us the pictures, I think maybe the slats aren't quite sufficient.
Chair, I know, can you tell us the new name? Because all of our paperwork is still reflective of Sammy Auto, who's no longer
Right.
looking at this location. So, if we can get an update on who the new applicant is. And-
Yes, the new applicant is here today, and based on conversations with them, the name of the project is still remaining as Sammy Auto Sales, minus the fact of Sammy, if that makes sense. And if they would like to clarify that too, they could.
Yes, please, because I'm confused on how you can use his name if he's not part of it. Because that was the same name on the Savage Road with Sammy Auto Sales, so. Yeah, well, Sammy was applying for the special land use. He no longer is applying for it. He's.
No, I mean, on Savage Road.
Yes, this is the, that's what we're asking. That's what I'm asking.
The answer is no.
So who's the new applicant?
It's Sumpter, it's just Sumpter property. That's how, with the new application that I put in with
Okay.
Sumpter property.
Is there a used auto dealer that's associated with it? Because it's gonna be used auto sales, so.
Not yet. Is there going to be another name you're saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're applying for it, but it's for a used car dealership. You don't have a used car dealership, right? Sammy. All right, so I'm confused.
The whole license that they were on the same.
Right.
Sandy is going out, so they will transfer the name.
So you're gonna get your own dealer license
Yes.
then? Okay.
So essentially, these would be two separate entities from the one we discussed previously on Savage versus this one on Sumpter. So two different applicants,
Yes.
two different parties.
Yes. And I think my question to you was, does a new special land use public hearing have to happen because it's a different entity applying for the use?
In my opinion, I would say that a public hearing would not be required as it was already held for the property. If it was a different property in a different zoning classification, yes,
Yep.
but since it's the same
But
property.
just wanna make sure we're dotting the i's and crossing the t's, so.
Yes.
Okay.
So where are you in the process of procuring your license?
Very close. Very-
Did you apply? Did you?
They need to have, like, changing location, that's how close. Once this gets approved, they.
And for the dealer authorization form, it requires a signature from the municipality, which would be effectively me. So I would not be signing off on their dealer forms until they've received site plan and special land use approval. So that would be essentially more or less the last step for them to get going.
As far as time? 2 months, 1 month, 2 days, 20 hours, 5 hours?
In terms of time limit to approve them,
No, time for them to procure all information before it comes to you for signature.
I would need to see all that information before. So we would need the special land use, the site plan approval, all of their dealer forms, all their insurance, everything that's required by the state. And once I have all that in one package, then I would sign off to then officially allow the use to commence. So there's no effective time limit in terms of that. It's more of
When they have all the stuff.
when they have all their
Got it.
approvals.
All right.
I know when we had the previous public hearing, there was an issue with the neighbor and the property line.
Gotta have no.
Yep, and so I think that should be part of the special land use.
Just have the ladder, that we're gonna get a new deed. It's all signed, it's all handled.
Okay.
Information.
Yep. think we have the paving, I know we said paving on the front and on the east, but the area in the back where cars will be set, we had talked about hard surfacing those areas.
Correct, and yes, that is a topic that the commission will have to discuss when considering the site plan. I think as of right now, we're just on the topic of the special land use, so, which all these concerns are legitimate, and I think would be better discussed during the site plan review portion. In your recommendation as well, Commissioners, you can always condition the approval of the special land use contingent on site plan approval by the Planning Commission. So therefore, if you recommend approval of the special land use, it can't go officially forward until you approve the site plan.
Yeah, the reason I brought it up is it's on your plan there, so that's why. That's for the special land use and site plan approval, you did a, kind of a combined, so that's why I brought that up.
I guess if there's no more questions or comments, I would recommend deciding on a motion.
Okay.
Yep. I'm just writing down a few notes that we talked about to make sure that they're included, so. If you wanna continue talking while I write. Sorry.
Okay, does anybody have any other questions, comments, concerns?
I think, I got one more. So,
Okay.
it's the applicant, last time when we talked about it, the site was not gonna have a garage license. So that's changed, you're gonna have a garage license now, or no garage license for repairs? Because to do repairs on cars that you wanna put up for sale, you have to have the garage license. So is there gonna be a repair facility too now? Or, so we need to understand, is that, it was previously a repair facility.
Correct, but I believe it's only gonna be used car sales, correct?
I think it's applied just for the cars.
Just for the car sales? Okay. Which means you got a third party that's gonna be, you're gonna take them over to Sammy's. Nothing wrong with that, he needs business.
Yeah, just, and to confirm, the special land use is again, yes, only for used car sales and the display, so in your approval of this, this would not permit, auto repair to be conducted on the same site.
It's a slow rider.
So I think, on your page 9, we need to add, I know you talked about under the site plan, but I think, we need to add on there the hard surfacing areas where cars are gonna be parked. Ensure all areas where cars are parked are hard surface.
Correct, yes, all areas intended for.
Along the front or on the east side, or the north side area? Is it possible you can do similar things to Sammy, put those behind the fence after they close? That way, the residential area, doesn't have to worry about people coming and walking the lot and stuff. That's great, thank you. Chair, if there's no more questions, I would make a motion to consider approval of the proposed site plan with all the stipulations on page 9, including the additional hard surfacing of the areas where any cars are parked, the no inoperable cars on the site, which has been stated, no part sales, no auto repair, which we put in the special land use, and they're gonna have 12 display cars that they've graciously agreed to park behind the fence after their hours of operation.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Chair should probably do a roll call vote.
Oh, okay. Good suggestion.
Roll call vote.
Yes.
Holly Becker,
Yes.
Kowalski,
Yes.
Dahlmeyer,
Yes.
Van Ack,
Yes.
Aye,
Yes.
Warren,
Yes.
Watson excused.
Okay, so motion carries. Thank you. And next item on our agenda is consider approval of proposed special land use of 40030 Willis Road for veterinarian surgery suite.
Thank you, Chair. And as you may be aware, Commissioners, this was an agenda item on your last meeting back in, I believe, September. So the discussion is still up. The decision for a motion was tabled, so now if there's any additional discussion points that Commissioners would like to bring up, I believe my, my previous report has still been provided in the minutes, so if there's any questions or comments regarding that review, I'd be happy to answer them. It does not appear that the applicant is here today, so I would encourage discussion between the Commissioners, and if there's a motion that would like to be entertained, you can either approve with conditions, or deny the special land use.
Chair, if I may?
Yes.
I know there was a lot of discussion about this on our last meeting, and I had made a motion to approve, but what I should have mentioned was made a motion to approve with amend. It might have gone further, but there's been a lot of discussion from people in the community, and we want to take, we take that very seriously, about it being that private road and how much traffic would go in and out. There were many other things that were brought up, but I'm wondering if a good compromise on encouraging home businesses in our community and taking into account what our residents have said is to maybe approve this to 1 day a week. What do we think about that?
Well, I'd like to hear from the petitioner, as to, whether that's sufficient for her business plan. One, two, I'm surprised we don't have, a room full of people as we did in the first one. One of my sticking point is still the private road.
I understand.
And there was, I know there was, I'll say petitions, but there were people that came in and spoke to the planner that, the deeded access was not in the deeds of the properties that they have to cross to get to that property. It's not our responsibility to fix that or review that or legally determine that. That's something, civilly that they, would have to look at. And I still have the issue of, it's a private road, and, people move on private roads, so they don't have, commercial traffic. And I know, for me, I don't consider it a home business. It's a surgery suite. It is a commercial venture that is currently being operated at FEMAR. So that's where, my sticking point is, it's at the private road, and whether the legal deeded access is there or not. I know if they took it to court, the court's gonna side with them that they've had it for this long, that they would get it, most likely, if it wasn't already recorded in the deed. But I don't know if they would get it for commercial traffic. And, however I think for us, however you spin it, it's still commercial traffic, right? This is a commercial business entity that's currently operating that wants to move from a commercial location, FEMAR, to their home and renovate a barn into that operating suite. So for me, I'd like to see, at a minimum, the property owners that they have to cross have some kind of agreement before, before the township would, approve somebody to have commercial access, across those properties. I'm sorry that the petitioner's not here, to kind of answer some of those questions of one day a week or not. I'd highly like to encourage her to go back up on Sumpter Road where we had the veterinary clinic and open up that veterinary clinic on Sumpter Road again. But those are my concerns, still from the previous meeting, which I was hoping maybe some of the concerned people that were saying that they didn't have deeded access, that maybe they had started some type of legal action or some type of review that would give us more information on, what is allowed on that private road. But that's my concern.
You can't really do anything without asking either, so I would
Right. I think it has to be tabled again.
table it, so.
So we need to make a motion to table it.
I will make a motion to table the 40030 Willis Road
To January's meeting.
to January's meeting, January 8th.
Okay.
And if we could ask the planner to reach out and see if they have anything that they can provide, regarding deeded access and, usable access, on there, just so we have something else to look at.
Yes, thank you, Joe.
Of course.
Okay, I have a motion.
Second.
All in favor of tabling it? Aye. Those opposed? It is tabled. Next item. Yeah. Next item on our agenda, where are you running to? Is open floor. Does anybody have any comments to open floor? Yes, sir. Could you tell?
My name is David Ankovic, and I currently run a business there in the corner of Sumpter and Willis at the old Arts and Appliance. That corner right there. I'm looking to possibly rent the front building for different adventures for people who are interested in renting it. I've had some interest in like auto detailing. What else? Somebody can run a custom welding shop. It's currently scheduled as a C1 property with automotive as a special land use. I didn't know if auto detailing would fall under the special land use category, being that the other things that are in the commercial list are public businesses, they have traffic coming in and out. We're not trying to repair cars or anything like that. And I wanted to get your guys' input on what you guys thought about the property, what you thought you guys would see Sumpter in that area, if we do rent it, and just kind of in general, what your guys' opinion of it, and also about the detailing shop, if that would really fall under a service facility or something along that area. For automobiles, it would be more of a custom detail shop by appointment, there would not be cars sitting outside. Those type of things. I do have some pictures, some aerial photos of the area and kind of the proposal of the way that I would see things kind of looking. If you guys want to review them, I can get them, if you guys get them.
You're talking Sumpter and.
Sumter
Willis, right there on the corner.
It's the old Wells.
Used to
Yeah.
be Wells Auto Shop.
Right. And it
Yes.
used to be a gas station.
Yeah, see, it wasn't in my time.
Well, it was in my time.
So, and I renovated the building behind it that used to be Arts Appliance.
Right.
Really did the inside of it, so it's not a old dingy two-car garage anymore. It's nice inside, has a good bathroom and all those type of things. So, I'm looking to, rent out the front building to, who might be interested in just kind of seeing. I heard there was some resistance to automobile stuff, and see if we can kind of,
I think Chair, the first place you would start is make an appointment, come in and see Joe, the planner, and that way he can, tell you what is, allowable there and what you have to do, whether a special land use, if it's something that, you want to put in there that isn't currently allowable by the zoning. That way you know the process. Then it would come back to us once you determine what you want to do there, and based on what the planner tells you have to, accomplish to get that up and running.
Yeah, so I spoke with Joe a couple times now, and he was kind of suggested that I speak with you guys as well to kind of get some input on how the planning commission felt about those type of ventures, and how, I was curious how the detailing would fall within the automotive, if that truly does fall within automotive, or if that's just another commercial use. I'm not trying to have an auto repair shop where lots of people coming in and out. We spoke
So-
with the neighbors, I haven't had, they were all okay and stuff.
So you're looking at having a business in the renovated space behind and a business on the corner.
Yes, so I am currently in the renovated space behind. I have a business application that was approved. I have one more building permit that has to be approved, but everything else is pretty much final. So I think you've seen there's a sign on the building. Switchgear maintenance services is my business. I maintenance switchgear, so high voltage equipment. But proposed people went in the front, everybody sees an auto repair shop. I don't particularly want an auto repair shop as a person that be in there, but like an auto detail shop, I felt like would be something that people would use. It's not gonna make a ton of noise. Most of the business people that I've talked with had like custom auto and stuff like that. So, I didn't know if there was a way, me and Joe spoke about hard pavement surfaces. Currently the lot is like a gravel surface. It has crushed asphalt currently as the surface. So I didn't know if that would still suffice. I was hoping so, because currently financially, paving a lot would not be within the budget. So,
And I think there's a lot of that property that's in the easement, isn't it, on that corner?
Yeah.
So, asphalting would very, very narrow, as you wouldn't be able to asphalt the easement, I think, other
Right.
than for like a access, a drive access, but, for parking and stuff, it's gonna be
yes,
difficult.
there wouldn't be any parking like in front of the doors. I'm guessing that's where you're speaking of, like in front of the big garage doors. Obviously, you have to be able to pull people into the garage doors, but there would be no parking there. My proposal would be along like that would be the west side. Like I said, I got drawn.
Oh, where it's all, yeah.
Just put in probably like 3 spaces. Like I said, I'm not looking to have cars sit there overnight. Talked about I was gonna put a storage unit there, like I think there was like a certain size that you could put in for some outdoor storage. We talked about that and what that would have to look like, and how I'd have to get that approved. But the main thing is if I do get a renter, I'm obviously gonna improve the property from the current state that it is, and that's my intention, is to improve the property, have somebody using it, and not just having it sit there vacant, which would, I think, in turn improve Sumpter Township. So, what do you
So-
recommend as far as like the detailing style stuff? I have people that are interested. Do I need to go through like a long process, or does that not fall under like the special style plan?
So in the C1, if you're talking about a body shop, that's what would be defined as a service station, and that is a special land use in the C1. So that would be kind of similar to what you saw today, where there would be a site plan submitted and the commission would review it and then send it up to the board for approval of the use and then also the site plan.
Okay, so a body shop, I used to work at a body shop, different than a detailing shop.
Right.
In that you're tearing down cars. I'm not talking about removing parts from cars at all. I'm talking about vacuuming them out, cleaning the vents, and those type of instances. Where I don't think you're gonna have the same category as a body shop. I used to be an auto body technician 10 years ago. So I guess I'm trying to see, since it's such a minuscule amount of automotive, does it still qualify as being something
Yeah.
that needs special attention?
Unfortunately, it's looking like yes, because in the definition of the ordinance, it does mention including but not limited to polishing, washing, cleaning, greasing, undercoating, and minor repairs, not including body work. And that's in that service station definition, which is listed as that special use. So while it may be minor, unfortunately, the ordinance is written as it's written, so I can only go by what it says.
So, one other question, if somebody wanted to open a custom welding shop within there that didn't mind doing custom welding, such as like headers or something along that, how would that play out in there as well? Would that large scale fabrication, small custom?
Yeah, that might take a little bit more time for me to look into. I can't give you an answer straight up right now, but if you want to come in on Tuesday, we can always go over it and hopefully have a little bit more fleshed out detail.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes,
Are you
ma'am.
from the community, or?
So I live over at Augusta Township over there at Willow and Whitaker. And then my wife's family, they're from Sumpter Township here. They live over at Martinsville. But yeah, I've been around here for this area for a while, so not far off.
All right, well, hopefully you can get something worked out with the planner, and we'll be
Yeah.
glad to see it.
Okay. You raised your hand? Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's for clarification. The Sumpter Road, I don't know that was approved?
The
The
special
site-
land use
yes.
was recommended to the
Yes.
township board for approval, and the site plan is again conditional on that special use and vice versa. So it'll be going to the board next for approval.
So it was approved, open for business after the site plan has been,
They won't be allowed to open for business until I approve their site plan and the township approves their site plan, then I sign off on their dealer forms, which again takes some more time. So even though site plan may be approved, they still have to get other state inspections and licenses secured first.
and approved means that you've done the work on the site plan.
The site plan is
Are you just approving the plan?
special
or the-
land use.
Yeah, but
Right.
the site plan, you just submit it, they don't have to do it, and it can be approved, or you submit it and they have to do what's on the site plan.
They have to do what's on the site plan, 'cause that's what we
Yeah.
approved.
And then, that's when it will have.
And then,
Right.
and then the site will be inspected to make sure it followed the site plan, and if so, then it can open for business.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, sir?
Arshad Harris, 25, 26 years, 25 Sumter Road. With reference to the 25891 Sumter Road project, with that, since nothing's been approved, I was a little confused on why there's so much cars coming in and going out. Why it seems like a running business, yet nothing has been approved. So that's really the main concern there, where they've done so much work and we're here still trying to approve this site plan, so it's a little confusing.
If there's work being done, then ordinance enforcement can go out and look. I know he's been out a few times. I can talk with him and hopefully figure something out, so that way they do nothing until their site plan's been approved.
And we've asked this question before, and we've, again, got the ordinance thing, and then they continue to work, so I just want that to be known, like, we've asked about this, it still continues. So that is really the concern with that, where it doesn't seem like the approval of site plan matters.
Are there any penalties to go with that in this regard?
I would have to consult the ordinance officer on what he can do to put a penalty on. I know we can issue stop work orders, but again, there shouldn't be any work going on. But if that's what can stop them until then, we'll look into that.
So again, with the no work going on, again, when we purchased it, we all know what John's how it looked like and what it looks like now. Yes, it does look different. It cleaned up a little bit, but if you do look behind it, the amount of cars behind it is really that issue. And you can see them from the street. They do have a fence. It's very see-through though. On our side, there's no fence at all, just debris. So again, visually, those pictures back there were some of them from our sideline. And those cars are salvage cars. They cannot move. They're missing doors, wheels, such and such, where they have to be lifted with the cap they have back there. So again, with this site plan, it was supposed to be on the condition of no unoperational vehicles, which is currently on the property more than 20. So again, referring to the site plan, it not being approved, they're already on the track of not following what's stated in the site plan. So again, the concern is how will these site plans being upholded and enforced while this business is operating in the motion, still trying to get approved, but they're clearly operating.
Joe, I know that Sammy, Sammy Auto Sales was going to be moving into that location, and the township had given him approval to move his for sale cars down there. And I know there was an issue with, cars that were inoperable, and an ordinance has been down there to get them to move those cars. I don't know where they're at in the process of completing that. But I would ask that, Joe, that you follow up with the ordinance. I know they had 30 days, or it was 45 days to clean up those cars. And Joe, if you could get the right amount of days, I know that there was some work that was done, and ordinance was there, it gave them a timeline to clean up, and that was as Sammy was exiting the site. Because that information, I think should be included in the board packet, because the committee tonight recommended approval. The final approval is done at the board table, so it's not approved as a special land use yet till it comes to the board table. And that information is key in the board being able to, make that decision to move forward is, what condition is the current site in, and they followed the ordinance requirements that were put in place. So it was worked on, ordinance did go out there, they did give them a specific time to get it cleaned up. I don't know if that time has elapsed yet. So that's why you see all the cars moving out. There shouldn't have been cars coming in. It should have been all cars going out.
Yeah, there's still coming in. The ones on the front side of the building, probably was coming in. But, yeah, that was just really a concern where we hear the site plan and such and don't see those actions being done. But, yeah, we'll bring these concerns up to the actual board, because, like you said, it got approved by the planning commission. So now to move on to the board.
Right. Okay.
That'll be it.
And that's when you find out about that.
The penalties for noncompliance with the ordinance, you could speak with Chief Luke, who manages the ordinance. There are specific nuisance laws, but like I said, I know that they were approached, ordinance did cite them and give them a specific time. I don't know what the fines are if they don't get the compliance within that time period, but the clock was ticking for them to get it cleaned up.
Any
Thank you,
other
Joe.
questions, comments?
Thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn?
Somebody needs a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Those opposed?